Ooh, how's everybody doing? Um, anyway, uh, today what I'd like to talk about is the what do you do when you're waiting for your next watch. I'm gonna close this up. Hang on a second. Oh, it's not that. It's my heavenly glow. Hi, Mark. Um, so anyway, I was thinking about this because some funny things have happened. Hi, Jack. Um, Among them is, oh, by the way, too, I've got on my Beauvais 1930, so a Fleurier. Um, Barney, Joe, how you guys doing? Oh, Barry, I'm sorry. Hi, Barry. Forbin, how are you? Um, yeah, hi, Clive. Anyway, one of the things in sort of the whole collection thing is that what you're doing, um, what do you do uh, while you're waiting for your watch to come, or you're saving your money? In my case, I've been trying to save up for a Lang and Hein Frederick III, and uh, they're pretty dear. Hi, buddy, Rich. Um, and so it's saying thing. What happens is that when you're doing that, I found something that happens. It's Lang. It's just Lang. Uh, it's Lang and Hein. They're a little different, and I really like them. If you haven't seen them, go to Lang and Hein and Hey, oh boy, Heyne, something like that. Anyway, Marco Lang, Lang, without the E, makes them. Okay. Oh, he said no to the Minerva. That's okay. Um, the thing that I've been looking at is that whenever I'm saving for another watch, all of these great deals come, and so what I do is that I found, well, if I'm tempted to bid on a watch, hi Rolex Explorer 2, what kind of watch you have? When I'm saving up for a watch, I'll see a really neat deal, and I'll say, "Man, I'd like to have that watch." And but you shouldn't, because you have to save. You're trying to save for your watch, and so what I've done is to put in a really low bid, and almost usually they just say no way. On this particular watch, one of my favorite, my little what is it called? I know the movement. The movement is uh, Jacquet 736, and Maurice Lacroix is the type of watch. I offered them half of what they were asking, and they said, "Yep." It seems that whenever I'm trying to save for something, some deal comes along. It's just like, wow. I never get deals like that. On the other hand, if I'm looking for a particular watch, I can't get any kind of deal like I can when I'm saving for another watch. So it was just sort of one of those observations. I think it's become a law. Um, but still, I still do it because if they take what I offer, it's such a low offer, and it just makes it an incredible deal. Well, like I said, they only show up. Okay, so that's one of the things I do. What are some of the guys? What are some of the ways, whether they've been successful or not? Have you tried to save for a watch? Um, you're trying to save up for a watch, and all of these deals floating by. What do you do? A pot watch never boils. That's true. and, a watched one, and a boiled watch is a deal. I have a new strategy. I buy waitlisted watches. So I put it down on the Aquanaut Patek 11 months ago. By the time it comes, I hope I can pay for it. I also just put myself on FPJ Blue. Rich, the FPJ Blue is an incredible watch. They will take you a couple years to get one now. So, hey, Nana. So that's sort of a cool thing. I mean, that would be a really interesting way to do something. Either in my case, I'd be paying off the credit card. So that's another way to do it, but I don't like to do it that way. What I like to do is keep a credit card balance of 0. Um, okay, exactly the same way you do new watch box coming Monday. Hmm. In number 32, yes, 2-year wait list. Yeah. Oh, really? You're at number 32 on a 2-year wait list. That gives you plenty of time. Um, there's some things. There are 2 other temptations that I have at the same time beside I'll call it the Frederick III, and that's the Rolex Cellini prints. I really like those, and I've seen some pretty good deals on those, and I've made some real lowball offers and got them rejected. The other thing I'm saving for is a Harboring 2 Doppel Felix. I was thinking of, I don't think I can trade in my Felix, my current Felix on it, because I don't want to be without a Felix. So anyway, okay, what are some other things you do? Wearing the Beauvais. Yeah, quite there it is. There's my Beauvais. Hey, hey, Beauvais. The Fleurier with the crown and bow, and then the bar lug at the bottom. This thing looks terribly awkward. It is incredibly comfortable. Usually, I don't even realize I have it on. I have to be careful, stick my hand in water or something. I don't want to do that. Okay. Oh, what's the estimated weight on an Aquanaut? Aquanauts, that's another one that has give you plenty of time to save up for one of those waiting for an Aquanaut. All right, so those anyway, making ridiculously low bids and every now getting one. That's one way to do it. Now, another way, another thing I started doing: don't walk toward the light. All right, Clyde, here I go. All right. The I lost my train of thought. Okay, all right. The other thing I've taken up and I really like in lots of ways, whoops, sorry, is making my own watches. This is something that I guess tomorrow's video we're going to be looking at how to do it. But I got a watch. I wanted an enamel dial, and so I got the enamel dial, and then I put on I found a place that had sterling silver hands, and so I got and their leaf, which I really like, and so I ended up with a really nice watch. And I think for the whole project, including a brand new band, was like $150. That's another thing I've been doing. I've also been breaking a few movements, a little more expensive than I planned. I saw this really cool movement that had one of the hardest things about taking a movement apart and putting it back together again is that you have these 3 wheels on from your gear chain, and the posts are sticking up, and you have to take this plate and stick it just right over it, and that's always hard. And I found one that had 3 bridges where the one plate went, and that makes it a lot easier. So that's something I thinking about getting. All right. Okie doke. All right. So so that's another thing, and I really enjoy it too. And it's something that, like I said, tomorrow's video, I'm talking about how something like this was put together, and so it is totally different aspect of watch collection. And it's something, once I finally get it, that's another thing. How long does it last? You get a new watch and you enjoy it a lot initially. But then, even after waiting a long time, I haven't stopped enjoying my Beauvais or the FP Journes, or the Vacheron Constantin 1923, or the two or the H Moser. That thing is. I got more watchmakers want to know all about that watch. That's a sort of a cool one. So you have that, but I don't know. And then we talk about it on the different online places. So, have you ever desired an Audemars Piguet? Yes, I really like those. I like the Forbin Colossus. I do like the Audemars Piguet Millenary. Yeah, it's a cool watch. It really is. I had a video not long ago on sort of the watches that weren't Royal Oaks from Audemars Piguet. Um, Joe Watchman, I'm doing a Build a Watch event with AWCC in December. Oh, wow. Okay, now AW. Oh, yes, I know. AWC is the American Watchmaker something something something. I forgot what it stood for, but that'll be neat. Um, oh, Clyde. Okay. Um, the yeah, no, I'm not who you calling old, Clyde? What's wrong with you? Your eyesight's going, I think. Um, so, okay, making low bids. Now that I'm making watches, and that takes up a lot of time. By the way, too, a lot of the stuff that I've ordered comes from China, and that takes about a month from the time you order it until you get it. And sometimes I back things up, and so I'll be getting one thing after another, and sort of like until I get enough to put a watch together. And so that's another thing. It's sort of is that it takes the time, and you're not spending money on a lot of money anyway on every new watch that you'd like to have. Um, yeah. For those of you, how many of you have tried building making your own watch? I know that some of the people have. Rich, uh, yeah, me too on the Prince, Rich. um Committed to the paddock already. Yeah, see, I'm in the same way. I really like the Cellini Prince, and boy, I tell you, there's a lot of tempting ones out there. But that's sort of second in line uh behind the Lang and Hine. So that's, if something comes along though, if somebody came along with a really good buy-in on one of those, I'd probably pick it up, because all of the good deals come when you're least expecting it, and you really want to afford it. What's the minimum number of watches a person has to have to get a collection review? Um, I don't know. I don't have a minimum. I think I reviewed one guy had two watches, but it was an interesting story with it. Uh, Nana, if you want to send me your collection review, I'd really like to review it. There's no, and it's not a matter. They don't have to be fancy watches either. They have to. The thing that I think I like, and I think most viewers like about a watch collection, is the story. How did you come to have a watch collection like you have? And boy, I tell you, some of the people that send in watches for their collection have really neat stories. That's what I like the best about it. And it doesn't matter whether you're collecting G Shocks or Patek Philippe's. Any collection that's interesting, I think, is a good collection. Okay, the white Rolex Prince is nice. Okay, now I agree with that. I tend to like gold more than white gold, and they're both. Oh wait, I don't know if the Cellini Prince has a steel model. I think they're either white gold or red gold, one of the two. I like them both, but I tend to like the other. Make coffee at home and skip the Starbucks. Yeah, you can buy a watch real quick doing that. Um, I have a friend. He's working in Saudi Arabia right now, and every time he gets to come home, we head for Starbucks. And my budget takes a hit. Okay. Oh yeah, Mark. Yeah, that FP Journe Chronomet Surveying. That's a wonderful watch. That's one of my very, very favorite watches, even more so than my Resonance. I really like those. My I probably be my I don't I don't know if I really have two favorites. I have 10 favorites, but among the top favorites is the FP Journe Chronomet Surveying and the H. Moser Henry Double Hairspring. Love both of those watches. Uh, they're they're just really nice watches. Um, anyway, and I like this one too. This one's fun to wear. It's different, and I like it. Okay, yeah, Resonance, man. I tell you, Rich, the thing about the Resonance, I can just sit and look at that thing for days. That's an amazing watch. It really is. And once I had it serviced and got it into as close to new. In fact, I had it overhauled. Man, it was just fantastic. That's a really interesting watch too. But in terms of day-to-day use, um, something with a nice big dial that I can read at a glance, I really like. And that was one of the reasons that I wanted this one this way was because I didn't want a small seconds to get in the way. One of the things about small seconds, I never use them. I never use the big seconds or the central seconds either. But a lot of people said, well, the thing that's nice about having the small seconds is that your watch is working. So that I can see. Okay, so what are some other things we can do while we're trying to save for our Grail watch? And it doesn't matter what it could be. It could be a $2,000 watch, or in my case, it can be a little more than that. And I hope and pray that the one I want is still available. So nobody go out and buy a uh, Frederick the Third until I can afford one. Okay. See, so let's see. Thumbs up. Let's see, watches with French sounding names. Hey, Steve. Yeah, you don't need French sounding names. If it has a French name, I'll mispronounce it. I like and respect the French language. I really do. I'm just terrible at languages. I really am, but I try. So anyhow, yeah, that would be a break for me if you've got a collection without fancy names. Uh, okay. So let's see. Okay, so I we can we can bid on watches that there's no possibility of getting because the price is so low. Um, we can make our own watches. What else? Especially when you're saving for, well, you another thing you can do is you can start sort of getting rid of watches that you really don't want, and that'll add to the saving kitty. And the only time I've done that, I did it twice, and it was on a trade-in, which is the stupidest possible way. If you want to lose money, use a trade-in. Um, Certain watches are okay. Will FPJ watches be hard to service once he passes away? The answer is no, and especially since he made that deal with uh, Chanel. When I had my both of my FP Journe service last year, they went to FP Journe has a service center in Miami, and naturally, I sent it there and right in the middle of a hurricane, and so it got delayed a little. But it came back in great shape, and they give you a free band with it, which is like $400 band, and really nice. So you end up in pretty good shape. But the bill itself is not cheap. FP Journes, if you have one, um, man, that's another thing too. I found another FP Journe. I thought, well, I should have at least one Octa. Now, what do you think of that? Should I should I get another FP Journe and to blow my savings for? I don't know. God, Tell you what a sick hobby. Okay. Yeah, they're watches. No, it doesn't cost $5,000 to well, maybe 20 years from now. It might cost $5,000, but 20 years from now, $5,000 may not be what $5,000 is today either. I have a Patek, Rich, and the only one that I like that I really would like to have is a, tonneau shaped one, a gondolo, and but I like these other watches better. You know, the thing of it is that there's so many watches to like, and you got to say, okay, yeah, you like those, but at least I can't. I can't afford them all. Maybe we ought to start buying lottery tickets or something. Um, yes, I do have respect for ETA movements. Let me tell you, I want to get this straight once and for all. I've never had a problem with ETA movements. Never, never, never. What I have a problem with is, because I can buy these things. I can buy an ETA or an ETA clone. Well, I can buy an ETA clone for 30 bucks. Okay. Um, and they work really well, and I can adjust them so the time is very, very, very accurate. Now, so I've got no problem with ETAs, and a real ETA, I've got one of those too that I'm going to make a watch out of. That watch is going to cost me like, tops maybe 150 bucks. Okay. With having purchased an ETA on a retail price, not the price they're going to give a watch manufacturer. And so in some of these companies, this is why I get mad at Breitling, and I get mad at IWC, I get mad at Cartier, I get mad at Panerai, all of them. They give different names. Like the ETAs in Panerai are like OP2, I think is one of them. All right. That I don't like, because basically they're not telling us the truth. On the other hand, Steinhardt, Tissot, I think, has started doing it. They say, look, this has got an ETA XYZ in it. That's how come it doesn't cost so much. I was mowing the yard today with my trusty Raymond Weil, and it's got an ETA in it. The thing is like 30 years old, and that old ETA, but I paid like brand new. It was like 300 bucks. Okay, that's not a problem with that. The only problem I have now, and will always have with ETA, is not ETA. It's these they charge us collectors a fortune for basically an inexpensive movement. Okay, and so that's the only problem I have. Okay, so that's it. ETA Valjoux. That's a good ETA Valjoux 77 50, great automatic, but you shouldn't be charged $5,000 for a watch that has that as its movement, because doesn't do anything. Don Haynes would say some ETAs are regulated to 5 or more number of positions, thus adding value to a pedestrian movement. Yeah, the thing is that this has got an ST36, which is a clone of an ETA 6497. Okay, which is really a Unitas 6497. All right. Okay, I adjusted it to all 5 positions, and it's really accurate. It's incredibly accurate. If you look at any good watch, they're going to say that adjusted to 5 positions. This one, pop open the back, and it says adjusted to 5 or 6 positions. So that's just sort of the position they set it at. Now, if you look at the quality of the materials, the workmanship, the finishing, everything with a movement, that's what you're paying for. In-house movements can be as bad as borrowed movement. I would rather have a movement with a Vauchur in it let's say who might have a washer, Hermes, an Hermes watch with a washer movement than I would I don't know, a lot of brands with an in-house movement. Okay, it's the quality of the movement that's important. The in-house versus not in-house wasn't so really, I think that threw everybody off the track. What we're really dealing with is really high quality movements versus ones that are mass produced and inexpensive and we're charged a lot for. So I think that's, to me, that's important. Do you regulate your watches yourself? Steve, let me say this to you and everybody else, especially considering Friday's video. I only regulate the ones that I can work on. Okay. Um, this one, for example, I wouldn't touch with a 10-foot pole. I've looked at it. I think I understand how to regulate it. There's a little screw that I could, I mean, it's got a nice little regulation adjuster in it. And but I wouldn't do it. I mean, like if I screw this watch up, it's one thing. You don't want to screw up a $20,000 watch because you're wagging your tail and you want, oh boy, I can do this on the cheap. Never do that. I wouldn't do it. If I went to Beauvais and they gave me a long course on how to service a Beauvais, yeah, that's different. I think Zaza Lacouture has some courses like that, and which I think would be a wonderful course to take. And then my wife's Zaza Lacouture, I could tweak it, except it's really a great watch. So the answer is, I just the only ones that I mess with are my ETAs. One watch, there are some that I'm thinking of messing with, and these are the La Joux Perrier or Jacquet 736s. Those are cool watches. I mean, they're cool movements too, and I don't make them anymore, so I don't know if any. And by servicing them, all I mean is moving that little regulator dial. That's it, and not very much, and then and doing it in a vacuum or close to it. Okay, I wouldn't touch my watch unless I was qualified to service it commercially. Yeah, Rich, those are exactly my sentiments, and I think it's, yeah, none of us like paying for especially high service charges. I don't like paying for it, but I don't like paying crazy prices for a watch. So if I pay a lot for a watch, I want to get a good watch. I don't want to get a watch that's got some fancy name and it's got an ETA in it. That's happened to me. My El Ra had a Pazoo 7001, which is an ETA 7001. And I called them in Switzerland and they lied to me. So I'm that's another thing. But now the upside is I could probably service an ETA 7001. I mean, in terms of getting the timing right. Um, so that's sort of, yeah. That I'll put it this way: the good side of getting some watch, if you got a Panerai with, some kind of ETA with another name in it, and you want to do a little servicing on that because had some courses and stuff on watchmaking, that's a different story. But why would you pay that much in the first place for a watch that, like I said, I could put these together and I don't have a watch with an enamel dial, and I don't have a watch with sterling silver hands, and and if I did, they'd charge me a lot for it. So now I got one for, like I said, about $150. Okay, what's up? Okay, my wife always complains to me about why I don't watch porn on my phone like normal guys instead of looking at watches. Yeah, I was, I was looking at my watch. My wife has this really nice Beauvais, and she's also got this LVH. As I was looking at her watch, and my eyes are up here. I was looking. It was the watch I was looking at. Okay. Yeah. Servicing is necessary evil. It goes with a hobby. You're right, Mark. That's exactly right. In adjusting time, I still understand beat rate, but I'm game to adjust slow, fast lever inside. Um, Okay, the beat rate is in hertz. Um, I've got a lot of questions about that myself. If any of you are going to the watch show, I'm in later this month. In fact, it's only a couple of weeks before they have it in New York. I'm going to be talking to the watchmakers there because some people I want to talk to, they all of their watches are they have something less than 4 hertz. Your Most of your watches have 4 hertz, but then you look at your very best watches and they're running at 3 hertz, 2.5 hertz. Uh, so something. Why is it the very best ones are running at the slower rates? Something's going on. So I'm gonna see. They also set something up that I guess I can interview people. I had They invited me as a guest, and so I get to interview people. And so there are a bunch of people I'd really like to interview, and see if I can get it on my my video. Okay, let's see what's up. The beat rate goes on. That's an old Sonny and Cher, I think. Did it ever emerge as to why Tim Mosso suddenly anti JLC? Okay. Do you miss your overseas? Really tempted to get one. I love my overseas. I really did. Yes, I do miss it. That's a neat watch. Um, the new one, the one that came out in 2016, is really, really nice. I like that because of the movement. The funny thing, though, if you want a good deal on a watch with the same movement, the only difference between an overseas and a Quadrille in terms of movement is that one's got a tungsten rotor and the other one is gold. But it turned out when I was at the boutique looking at them, on the new ones, the Quadrille actually look better. And man, I tell you, those you can get some really good buys on those. To me, that's one of those watches that fell through the cracks. And if you can find a stainless steel Quadrille, you can pick those up for maybe even under 10,000, brand new. Those are great deals. So if I got another one, I'd probably go with a Quadrille. Overseas, love overseas, especially the new ones. Let me put it this way: only the new ones. The one I had was fine, great. I loved it. Just wore it to death, really. And but when it came to shove, I'm trying to close the deal on this one watch for our anniversary, and that was the only thing I had to sort of close the gap. Okay, until it skis into a tree. Man, Corbin, you're an old guy. You know that one. Okay. All right. Well, listen, uh, just some thoughts. Tomorrow, got the video on how to make a watch, and I hope to see you guys then. And take care.